What's up? It's Billy Carson, aka Forbidden Knowledge. Make sure you share this video. Make sure everyone gets a chance to watch this video. I'm going in tonight. I got my camo esoteric cap on because I'm going in. We're going to be talking about some crazy stuff that I discovered about these forest fires. All right, make sure you share the video. I'll be right back. What's up? I'm back. Billy Carson, aka Forbidden Knowledge. I see people filling up in the chat already. I'm looking up at this screen above me. Let me send out a text message because you know how these notifications go. Make sure y'all click the like button. Make sure you share the video, but definitely make sure you click that like button because it's so important that we get the algorithm going. All right. And I'm going to just drop this link to a quick text message so we can make sure everybody gets a chance to hear what I got to say tonight. I like to come with the receipts, and I'm bringing the receipts tonight. All right, so you definitely want to tune in and stay tuned. I'm going to drop this link in here real quick and see if we can get a few more people on board with us tonight because I think this is a real important message. And this is one of my rants. And when I get the rants, when I get the rant in me, I go in pretty good. But again, I like to bring the receipts as well. All right. So if you're watching on Instagram, you got to go to my YouTube channel. Talking to the IGers. I'm on YouTube on Forbidden Knowledge YouTube account. I'm going to turn this live feed off because I'll be exclusively on the YouTube account tonight. And I'm talking about, could these wildfires that we've seen all around the world, could they be directed energy weapons? And if you want to know the answer to that or my opinion on what I feel about it, you got to come over to my YouTube account and watch it right now. We're live. All right. So go over to the Forbidden Knowledge YouTube account. We're live. All right. I'm going to see you guys over there. I'm going to keep it on for a couple more minutes, but I'm telling you, it's going to be on exclusively on my YouTube account. Now, I see the chat filling up pretty good now. Here we go. We got more people coming in the house. We're going to talk tonight about these energy weapons. And, I always have to be very particular in how I say these things. And by the way, I got on the esoteric cap. I got on the camo esoteric cap. That's the Forbidden Esoteric brand. I got on one of the esoteric tees, all right, for the Forbidden Esoteric. This shirt fits good, man. This thing got me looking like Iron Man. But anyway, if you want to get the Forbidden Esoteric clothing line, make sure you go to forbiddenknowledge.com. Go to the shop and check out the esoteric clothing line. We got a lot of cool stuff coming out every single week. A lot of cool things, a lot of different types of caps, different types of shirts, different designs, a lot of cool, incredible designs. All of our designs are copywritten. It's not like just random stuff that's just thrown on a shirt, It's real deal stuff. And we got a lot more coming out. We're doing new drops every month of new items and new accessories as well. All right. So check it out. All right. So now we're going to start talking about these energy weapons, guys. So you got to go over to Forbidden Knowledge on YouTube. All right. I'm going to catch y'all later. Peace. I had to turn it. You got to turn off the Instagram because they got to come over here. All right. They got to come over here and watch what we're talking about. So when we look around the world and we start trying to analyze, what's going on with these fires, right? These fires are cropping up and popping up everywhere. I'm going to read some articles to you guys tonight, some articles that I think are very, very interesting. And when I read them, I'm going to put them up on the screen. And I'm also going to read the same article right here lower by me on this PC so I can, so I'm not staring up into space the whole time. But it's pretty interesting that we see these fires happening nonstop all over the world. And it seems like they're just increasing in intensity. And the locations that they're in started making me ask a lot of questions, all right? And I do mean a lot of questions. I wanted to figure out why exactly are these fires showing up in all these places. And one thing about investigative work, the idea behind it is to build enough circumstantial evidence. That's really what it's all about, building up circumstantial evidence. Now, I'm going to use a lot of phrases tonight that are going to be needed for me to use in order to keep this video going and make sure that it stays active. All right. And this is, I'm talking to AI. You know who I'm talking to, right? So that's why the subject line is, could these global fires be evidence of directed energy weapons? See, it's a question mark. I'm asking a question. You see, I'm asking questions here. I'm not making bold statements. I'm only asking questions. And then I'm going to show you a little bit of my research to see if maybe we all can come up to our own hypothesis on what we think is going on. You see how I played that? So let's take a look at a couple things. The first thing I want to look at before I get into reading this first article is the fact that the way that these fires are popping up and the locations that they're popping up in, it seems to be hitting and targeting cities. And it seems to be targeting cities in a way that in some cases, the fires all rise at the same time across an area of a region simultaneously. Now, typically, you see a fire will start in one location and then it will spread in a particular direction based on the amount of oxygen, based on the chemicals that's fueling it, based on the wind, right? Based on particulates that are carrying embers from place to place, which usually, again, depends on the wind. You typically just don't see fires rising up and starting across an entire region simultaneously. That's pretty damn hard to do. Now, I've never seen that happen before unless it was ignited on purpose by some type of activator of some sort. What in the world could make a fire start across an entire region simultaneously? And also, what can allow a fire to burn burn so strong, but not destroy specific things like some cars, some garbage cans, some houses are spared, right? What is this? What is causing this? What is causing this to happen? How in the world can fire work its way around specific things and then hit and completely incinerate other things? That's the question that I got. Like, what in the world could be doing this? Well, I had to start digging deep into this because this is a real interesting topic. And we got to get to the bottom of this situation because to me, it looks like the Dark Brothers from the Emerald Tablets are operating again. That's what it looks like to me. It looks like the Dark Brothers are operating. Because as far as I knew, fire doesn't decide where it wants to go. It only goes where it's called, and it's usually called by chemical, some type of accelerant, right? It's directed. It's directed where it goes unless it's consuming fuel, and that takes it where it goes. But how in the world, during the process of consuming fuel and accelerants, does it go around specific things and around specific places and doesn't burn certain things? To me, that has me really scratching my head. And I'm sure you guys have been scratching your head as well, probably wondering when I was going to chime in and talk about this, you know? So we're going to read a couple of articles tonight because one of the things I feel goes on when we're talking about this situation, it seems like, after I've done my research, it seems like a money grab. And I'm gonna back this up with some receipts. All right. I'm gonna back it up with some receipts. It seems like a money grab. It seems like there's a conglomerate of land developers that are in full collusion with another company that has the capability of igniting and targeting these fires. I'm not saying it exactly is. I'm saying it could be, Mr. AI. It could be. There's a question mark there. It could be. But the thing is here, when you start doing the research and digging deep into what's happening to these areas after they've been completely decimated, you go, wow, really? And that's what y'all doing? Y'all just going to burn everybody out and take the land and then build on it? Interesting, huh? This is being done in a way that is so deliberate that the average person can't even see it happening. They don't even question it. They don't even question it. So I'm going to be sharing my screen tonight because I'm going to read a couple of articles to you. Some articles that I think are really important. All right. Let me get this article ready here on my PC. And we're going to go through a couple of these. So let me get my screen share ready because we gotta bring the receipts and we got to analyze this. And the reason why I'm going to read these articles word for word, or at least these headlines or whatever I'm reading word for word, is so that Mr. AI can't do nothing to this video, because I'm using your sources, Mr. AI. These are your sources. These are absolutely your sources. Mainstream. You can't do anything about it, you see? So let's take a quick look here. Let me get this screen share going and get this party started. Make sure y'all share this video. Everybody needs to hear and see what I'm about to read to you guys tonight. Because if you've been wondering what's going on with these fires, I'm going to tell you, you don't have to wonder any further. There's no more wondering needed on your part. Okay? There's no more wondering. Let the wondering be gone. Wall Street Journal. Okay? Wall Street Journal says, let me move this out the way here for a second. A natural disaster wipes out your home, then buyers come calling. Let me read this title to you again. The Wall Street Journal. A natural disaster wipes out your home, and then buyers come calling. That's not Billy Carson saying that. That's a Wall Street Journal article, right? It says, Panama City, Florida. After the Hurricane Michael swept over Florida Panhandle last October, destroying thousands of homes and taking dozens of lives, David Day started looking for property to buy. And this article goes in depth into how these people are preying on people who are being caught up in these natural disasters. Things that are incredible, like, before we get to the fires, hurricanes that kind of go in areas where the houses are the weakest. They meander through certain areas and only target areas and regions of states where the houses are made out of wood or are older, or this one particular hurricane comes through in one of the very few cities that has almost zero drainage and floods out the entire area and destroys everything, decimates everything. And then almost immediately, here come the home developers getting ready to build. Okay, this is what they do. This is the MO. I'm going to come back to that one. Let's take a look at this one here. State of emergency. This is News 21. Developments in disaster-prone areas means big bucks for builders, but can leave communities at risk. Okay. Again, this is more information, a mainstream site, news21.com. And what do they say? Elfin Forest is named for miniature trees that blanket the surrounding ridgeline. The terrain acts like a wall, which has until recently prevented suburban San Diego from sprawling into Beulah Valley. The town, home to 800 people and 300 horses, bills itself as a rural community. It's accessed by a single winding two-lane road When the valley catches fire, as it periodically does, the road is the only escape route. Residents will soon share it with 700 new neighbors because they said we're already at a maximum density when it comes to evacuation. But basically what it looks like here is the U.S. has spent more than $500 billion over the past 5 years cleaning up after a record-breaking hurricane and wildfires in this region. So basically what they're saying is this area has been decimated so badly, and they keep coming back only to this one little area. Now imagine this. Imagine an area, and I'm going to come back here, and I'm going to take the screen share off for a second because I want to talk. Imagine an area that is so rural and so out of the way that only 800 people live there. But in this area that has all these vast acres of incredible land and natural abundance, it just keeps getting targeted by storms and fires nonstop. What does that sound like to you? It just keeps getting targeted nonstop by fires, keeps getting targeted by storms. Completely, the other areas around this that aren't inhabited by this area, these people, untouched, unscathed. This particular area, when you look deeper into this area I'm talking about, they keep getting battered with fires nonstop and storms over and over and over again. A town of only 800 people. Now, let me ask you a question. Is it easier to burn 800 people out and storm them out? Or is it easier to knock on each door and try to convince them to sell property that's been in their family for generations? You see? It's a lot easier to just make them say, man, we quit. We can't live here. This place is too volatile and too hostile. But as soon as they began to give in, all of a sudden, they started building out there. They're building developments now. As soon as people gave in and said, I'm throwing in the towel, man, I can't stay here no more. They're throwing in the towel. Okay, here come the developers. Here comes the pressure. We'll put pressure on them for about 10 years. See, these people played a long game. They played a long game. They're not in a rush. They're not in a rush. These companies plan for 300, 400, 500 years in advance. Oh, we'll just steal the land. We'll steal it. Let me tell you a story before I go to the next article. So that Hurricane Maria came through and it swept through the Caribbean, and it destroyed St. Thomas, and it also destroyed Puerto Rico. If you remember, a lot of you helped me raise money. We raised over $55,000 for supplies and goods, for disaster goods and so forth to help out the people of Puerto Rico. And so a little bit of it went to St. Thomas. Now, I have family in both places. I have family in Puerto Rico, and I have also family in St. Thomas, Virgin Islands. My family is split like that. Some of my family is Puerto Rican. Some of my family is from St. Thomas. And so the family in St. Thomas, I started talking to my aunt Alcenta. A lot of them lost pretty much everything during that storm. Houses completely gone, just gone. Some of the family and people I knew and friends in Puerto Rico, gone. Guess what happened? The insurance companies don't want to pay, even though they had insurance and was paying insurance in some cases for decades. Didn't want to pay. Cut people a check for, in some cases, only a third of what the house value was, or half the house value. Now, what are you going to do with that? You can't rebuild. So by doing this, it shows you something else. That the insurance companies appear to be, I'm not making a statement, Mr. AI, I'm saying appears to be in full collusion with these land developers. Because you see, once you get a check for less than the value of rebuilding your own home, you got to take that money, cash it, and leave the area and start fresh somewhere else, leaving all that incredible land just available to just swoop up and rebuild and make a brand new city, or brand new cities, plural, out of that land, out of that area, which is exactly what happened. They literally stole a lot of that land. One of the largest real estate organizations that was in there first was Donald Trump's real estate company. Look it up. They were in there before the insurance companies were even cutting checks. Before they were even cutting the checks, they were already jumping on the land. staking their claim. We're going to chop it up this way. I'm going to take this section. Y'all can have that piece over there, but we're going to take this whole area here because it's got a coastline, and we're going to make an inlet, and we're going to go ahead and build some high rises on this side over here. They was already chopping it up. You see? Chopping it up. You think they can't direct hurricanes? You think they can't direct these fires? If you think they can't direct a hurricane and route it to where they want it to go via satellite, you haven't been studying. You haven't been doing any research. We've been had that kind of technology. That's old technology. That's actually ancient damn near compared to what we have now. It's so easy to do. I mean, so easy. All right. Let me get a little deeper now, because I want you guys to see this. I want you guys to see this is craziness here. All right, I found the one I want. Let me pull this up. Let me share my screen again. Let's go back into this. I'm gonna jump into this article over here. I'm gonna get to that in a minute. You guys see the stock market and whose stock that is. Here we go. Now, I'm giving away a little bit here by giving you a name, Raytheon. Now, I'm not saying Raytheon is involved in this, okay? What I'm saying is it's quite interesting that no matter where you look, where these fires are, Raytheon has an office or has a location, or they have a contract in one of those areas. And of course, we know that Raytheon is a military contractor that also specializes in directed energy weapons, aka specific types of lasers. And they can actually direct these beams to a very precise location, as they brag about being able to take down a lot of targets. Okay. And so I'm going to show you their website in a second. But what's interesting is another area that was targeted. And then they said, you know what? We're going to take this land and we're going to develop a community. So Raytheon site to become a $200 million residential community. Now, what's interesting about this, check this out. I want you to listen to this, because this is pretty interesting here. This guy buys this land and claims he's going to build an entire community on it before it even gets approved by the city or the state. He knows that. He's that confident that it's going to be a community being built. It says, once Ford Pinellas, it says, let me see here. Les Porter, the owner of Clearwater-based Porter Development, previously eyed the 29-acre property at 1501, so forth and so on. So, in Square Mall, as a sports center that would feature a lagoon, but he has since retooled his plans. Once Ford Pinellas voted against the sports center, I didn't feel like it had the potential for success as much as I liked the sports center concept. I began thinking about other possibilities for a multifamily with a large affordable housing component. Porter purchased the property in 2021 for $10.5 million without having plans as of yet. He didn't even have plans. Typically, a developer will seek approval from the city before closing on a site, but Porter said he felt confident about his plans enough to take that risk. Now, who in the hell makes a $10.5 million risk like that? They could say, man, you go on the land, but you can't build nothing on this. We're not going to approve this. But no, what happens? He did it. Initially, Porter was planning to utilize House Bill 1339, which allows municipalities to transform industrial or commercial zone properties into affordable housing expeditiously. Fortunately, with the mixed income dynamic, market rate units will help us financially create affordable projects that are subsidized, Porter said. Now, this is still not approved. Let's fast forward to the future. I'm reading up on my screen. That's why I'm looking up. City Council approves disputed Raytheon site redevelopment. It went through. It went through. Of course it went through, because these people pay off people. Over 1,000 mixed-rate housing units will be developed at the former Raytheon 29-acre site, which has remained vacant for many years, as is riddled with soil and water contamination, amongst other things. They use it as a testing facility for that area. After 3 hours of testimony Thursday evening, the St. Petersburg City Council unanimously approved the redevelopment of the property. Les Porter's $200 million project. He bought the land for $10.5 million. Now it's a $200 million project, entails the construction of 1,058 apartments with 318 affordable housing units, so forth and so on. Raytheon, an aerospace and defense firm, had an office at the site, which was undergoing the process to clean up the discovered contamination at that location. Am I starting to make some sense here? Are you starting to see the big picture? I hope you guys are beginning to see the big picture here. Because this is what I'm talking about. This is big business. This is huge business. And we're talking about people using technologies, potentially, Mr. AI, potentially using technologies that are contaminating land, that are also being used in that same region, because there's in that same region fires. What are the fires doing that close to the office? I'll tell you a personal story. Went down to Australia, right? 2019, going into 2020, right at the beginning of the year. What do I see out there? Of course, there's fires, because there's fires all throughout the outback. And so I'm out there because I'm trying to note and take to document these Egyptian hieroglyphs, these proto-Egyptian hieroglyphs that are in the outback in Australia before they're destroyed. And I went out there with guides, and we found the site and we documented it. Well-known pictures. I've got pictures, photos. The hieroglyphs have been sent out to the Board of Antiquities and verified as proto-Egyptian hieroglyphs in Australia, dated to about 5,000 years old. Cool stuff. While we're out there, of course, there's fires going on nonstop. Another place we wanted to go to, we couldn't get to it in time. It got burnt down. It was a cave with some really ancient cave drawings that I wanted to see and document, but they got burnt up in the fire. So that was a waste. Get back to the hotel. I said, let me go out the back here, just walk around on the main street of like Australia and take a look around. I come out of the back of the hotel. What's directly across the street from my hotel? Directly across the street, a Raytheon office. A Raytheon office right there, directly across the street. And do you think it's a coincidence that these fires were unstoppable at that time, when there's a Raytheon office in the same vicinity as that place, most likely doing experiments with directed energy weapons? Do you think it's a coincidence that as of today, right now, some of that land in Carryong 9, where I was, is being developed as real estate right now in Carryong 9 in Australia, just outside of Sydney? Do you think that's a coincidence? The fires cleared the way for new development, new investors. And that's what's going on. That's exactly what's going on. What did they do to most of the Aboriginals? They gave them drugs and they gave them alcohol, because, indigenous people can't handle neither one of those two things. That destroyed them. And then they took them off their land and forced them to go to work, except for the ones that are way, way out there. So now you force them to be part of the system. So now nobody's taking claim to the land that they rightfully own. That's theirs. That's been in their family for generations. And then you install a company like Raytheon that might be using directed energy weapons to burn down these people's land, and then allowing, in full collusion with some type of payment, of course, developers to come in collusion as well with the government, to build and develop that land out there and build communities that now other people can come and buy and pay taxes and get jobs in those communities, which send more money to the government and so forth and so on. You see the cycle? You see the cycle? It's the largest grand theft going on in the 21st century right now, right before everyone's eyes, in broad daylight. In broad daylight. And what's the method being used to steal these people's lands? In my opinion, lasers. Lasers and drones. That's what's being used. And what they'll just blame it on global warming. Oh, it's kind of hot now, so these fires are just popping up. We can't control these fires. All that land in Canada that just burnt up. All those people lost those properties in those areas where new development wants to start building, where they want to clear out areas where houses are 60 and 70 years old, and the people living in them have been there for families of generations, and they don't want to move because they have sentimental value. But we want to develop this area, and we want to knock all these houses down and turn this into a more contemporary community. How the hell do we get these people out of here? We can't seem to get these people to want to leave this place. Oh, we got an idea. We just burn them out of here. And then when they're gone and all the dust and smoke is cleared and all the ashes have dropped from the sky, we'll rise up out of the ashes, a phoenix, like a phoenix, a brand new city. You see what I mean? A brand new city will rise from the ashes like a phoenix, rising into the sky. Nothing's changed. It's been the same game. They've been running this game. They just found a new angle. They found a new angle. Natural disasters. That's the new angle going on. Natural disasters. Let's take a look at something else here real quick. Let me go back over here. Because we got to go to the website. Remember those wildfires in Brazil? You remember those wildfires in Brazil? Where the rainforest was being destroyed and burnt down for developers that want to come in and build on that land? Raytheon to upgrade air traffic surveillance and radars for Brazilian Air Force. Oh, right around the same time that Brazil was on fire. This is just one article, but they did a lot of big deals down there. They did a lot of huge deals down there, and they literally have contracted to do work in that area right in the Amazon. Now, what is a company that specializes in directed energy weapons doing in the area where the majority of the oxygen produced for the planet Earth is produced and suddenly catches all on fire? At the same time that developers want to take that land to build on it. You see? You can't deny these connections. This is a press wire release that went out March 24th, 2020. Right at the same time that that whole forest, the Amazon itself, was on fire. Why do they keep popping up in all the areas where there's fires and developers? It just keeps happening over and over again. And at some point, we got to be like, wait a minute. This ain't a coincidence no more. This is not a coincidence anymore. This is really happening. There's really something going on here. Let's check this out. These are the countries where we have Raytheon offices. What's on fire right now? Greece. Greece is on fire. Okay? Greece is on fire. They also have an office in Canada, which is not on this list. Do I have it up here? Raytheon Canada has been providing advanced technologies in defense and aerospace systems in Canada for 65 years, offering unparalleled portfolio of military-grade products, mission support services, and blah, 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 blah. So people who say, well, they're not in Canada. Canada ain't on that list. Well, they're there. They're in Canada. They're in Canada. Now, I'm not saying Raytheon's guilty of doing anything. What I'm saying is it's a coincidence. It's just a hell of a coincidence that they're in Canada. That's all I'm saying. All right. Let's take a look at this. This is Raytheon stock. Now, this is the stock chart over the course of 1 year. Okay. 1 year, RTX Corporation, which is Raytheon, over the course of 1 year. Now, when you see this rise, every one of these spikes, when you go to the spike and you highlight it and you get to the date, you begin to see something interesting with the news. You know, when you get to these spikes right here where the stock is rising and you can see the date above it, right? December 2nd, right? January 6th, February. You see these spikes April 3rd, April 18th. When you investigate these date ranges within a few days before and after of these spikes of the stock rising and hitting peaks, you see on the news fires reported in areas where there's offices that this company holds. Pretty interesting. That's pretty interesting, don't you think? Can you imagine that how many people are making money just on the stock alone? Isn't it a strange coincidence that the stocks rise at the same time that places catch on fire? I don't understand. I mean, if anybody can't see this, they don't want to see it. If anybody can't see this, they just don't want to see it. It's crazy. And this is really happening right in front of your very eyes. Like literally. What I just heard on the news today, it sparked me to even want to do this even more. The fact that new developers are going into Greece to rebuild Greece now, where the fires were. Every time you turn around, and you can Google this, I mean, anybody can look this up. It ain't like it's forbidden knowledge, it's common knowledge because it's right there. They've already got the crews, the developers are ready to go in and rebuild this place like you wouldn't believe. Now, when I've been to Greece several times, the problem with Greece, it's a very, very old city. It's a very old country. I'm sorry, very old country. And I've been to Athens, I've been to Akrotiri and Santorini and so forth. But the problem you have is it's an old country, and those houses and those structures, they're old. They're old and they're dirty. And I don't even mean to offend anybody if you're from Greece or whatever, but I mean, come on. They never seen a pressure cleaner there. They don't even know what a water pressure cleaner is. They don't clean anything. Everything is just, they want everything to be white, but white and dirt kind of don't look too good together. And everything's falling apart. Their electrical system, their electric grid's no good. Their internet sucks. It just is what it is. It's a fact. What better way to start fresh than to just force people to get out of there? Whether a few of them die, it's just, collateral damage. But now we don't have to go door to door asking people to sell. We can just take it, do a deal with the government. We do a deal with this private corporation to make sure it lights up and burns all night and burns for days. And then we go in and we redevelop the whole area. Brand new electric grid, brand new power grid, brand new cable system, brand new satellite system, brand new fiber optics, brand new structures. And that means brand new loans, brand new financing. That means billions of dollars in revenue being generated from every angle you could think of, just because they showed up on the scene and said, hey, it's time to rebuild. I mean, I got to admit, it was time for Greece to rebuild these cities because they look like crap. That's just a fact. But at the same time, the way it's being done is not right. The way it's being done, no, that ain't right, man. That is not right at all. That is not right at all. That's what's being done. It's one of the largest land grabs going on right now in history. In history. And it's happening right before your very eyes. When you start analyzing all these locations of all these huge fires that are going on, Turkey and Greece, you start analyzing a lot of these storms, these weird storms that are hitting areas like the one that came to Florida and only went to the areas where they didn't have any kind of drainage system, and the houses were all made out of wood, which is hard to find in Florida because Florida, we have hurricane codes. It wiped that, decimated that whole area, flattened it. Now all the new houses being built are being built in solid concrete, like my house. Brand new developments coming up out of the ground like this. Like Thanos just snapped his finger with that glove on. People who had just bought investment properties there completely lost everything. Gone. I know one guy who has, him and his friends used their life savings to buy an investment property there a week before the hurricane hit. Gone. Investment wasted, gone. Still got to pay the mortgage, which is a it was one of those short-term mortgage loans with high interest because you're expecting to sell the property. So basically, you put down like 20%. That was their life savings. You fix the house up with like another $15,000, $20,000, get it ready for the market, and then you put it on the market in hopes that because inventory was so low at the time that the house will sell within 60 days, right? Maybe 60 to 90 days, the house is gone. You've only had to make 2 or 3 mortgage payments on that high interest short-term mortgage loan. But with the house gone, guess what? The loan ain't gone. And now they still got to make those payments, even though that area is being redeveloped, brand new houses that has nothing to do with them. They're still paying on this doggone, mafia loan that they took to get the house in the first place as an investment property. These kind of nightmare stories happen, on a day-to-day basis. And it's unfortunate, but this is exactly what's going on out here. It's the largest land grab going on in history, utilizing the weather as the actual problem that's creating the situation for people to lose their homes when there's somebody behind the weather pulling the strings like a puppeteer, controlling everything from behind the scenes in the darkness. You'll never see these people's faces. You'll never know who they are. You'll never know their names. But they pull the strings in the background. Send that storm over there. Wipe out this area. Take it through this neighborhood, specifically this one neighborhood. I've been trying to buy this block for 20 years. Take it through that neighborhood so I can have my people buy that block. Get that fire over here, but avoid all the blue. Anything blue, we don't want to burn that. That's our marker. So we'll let our people know, put out the blue so the blue doesn't get touched. Anything in blue won't catch on fire. We got blue houses, blue roofs, blue garbage cans, blue cars, untouched, unscathed. Everything around them melted. Everything around them gone, disintegrated. Anything blue won't be touched. You see? Why is that? It's all about this. See, what people don't realize, there's a lot of ways to make money. A lot of ways to make money. And you don't have to hurt people, kill people, take advantage of people to make money. But these people, it's not about the money. To be honest with you, it's about more of the power, domination, and control that they're after. They're not really after the money. It's about something else. They loathe that power, that domination, and that control. That's what really gets them off. That's what gets their rocks off. You see? I'm going to share my screen again. You see this logo coming across the screen? This fire burning in this 400 targets downed. Count our lasers to the clear skies. Count on our lasers to the clear skies. This is 400 targets down. This is a Raytheon site. I'm not saying Raytheon is guilty of doing anything. All I'm saying is it's just a coincidence that they're always in an area where, or even sometimes they're doing tests in an area where there's fires. This is bizarre. Look it up. They're testing, they're doing drills. Why are they utilizing this technology in areas prone to catching on fire? And why in the world, soon after, are people moving in to start building new developments in those same areas? It just doesn't make any sense to me that it would be just happenstance. It could be. It could be. But, look at this truck. That pickup truck in the previous image. Let me go back to it real quick. This pickup truck drives around with a portable laser that rotates on its axis and literally can begin to light things on fire or take out targets. A pickup truck. U.S. Air Force's new palletized laser weapon is the first 10 kilowatt class laser built to U.S. Army specifications in a standalone configuration. It can be moved and mounted anywhere it is needed for counter-drone missions, known as H-4. It is the fourth operational laser weapon system that Raytheon Technology has delivered to the Air Force. It is shown here and placed to protect a critical infrastructure. So this is being used as a protection mechanism here for this particular area that it's in. But again, well, what if this thing misses its target? Or what if the laser is pointed in a different area and catches a tree on fire and that tree then burns down a whole forest? I don't know. I'm not saying it has, I'm just hypothesizing. But you notice they're always got these lasers. I mean, look at the area. Trees, bush, woods, forest, woods. I mean, I don't get it, man. Doesn't make any sense. Raytheon, high energy laser, combat ready. So you just got this laser sitting out here on the back of a four-wheeler. You set it up, aim it at something, and let the laser go. Or you mount it on a drone, and that drone can then have targets on the ground, all right, to destroy those targets. Pretty interesting. If you see one of these trucks driving around a rural area that catches on fire, remember what I told you today. See one of these F-150 trucks with a laser on the back. Remember this YouTube video. Crazy stuff. Crazy, crazy stuff. Making me want to go get a whole bunch of blue stuff so I can, because anything blue never gets touched. So you want to go get a whole bunch of blue stuff. As I paint my sidewalk blue, paint the roof blue, get a blue car. I don't know. It's crazy. But this is the world we live in. We live in a world where there's a very small amount of people that want to dominate and control and put their boot on the neck of the many. And they love this. They get off on this. They get off on seeing the suffering and the hurt and the pain. They laugh. They chuckle. They go to bed and sleep like babies. They don't even have a feeling in their heart because they're not real people. They're soulless avatars operating on matrix programming code. They're here to do what they're supposed to do, and that is to try to dominate and control. But guess what? Everything that they're doing, they can't continue to do unless we allow them to do it. Here's where the problem lies. We as people on this planet continue to play the game nonstop. You may say, well, how are we allowing these fires? Because we don't want things to catch on. We don't want to be part of people catching on fire and houses burning down and people losing their properties. I know you don't. But your silence puts you in full collusion with those who are doing it. You see? Your silence does it. Your silence says yes. Your silence is the agreement. Your silence is the collusion. Your silence says, yes, put me in shackles and step on my neck. That's what your silence does. It gives them the authority to dominate us. It gives them the authority to dominate us. It tells them, yes, they want this. They want us to step on their neck. They want us to spit in their face. They want us to steal their legacy and their heritage. Take it from them. They don't want it. They've allowed us to do this. That's what it tells them. It tells them by silence. It tells them by participation. And when they get the fear in your heart from all their media propaganda, they bend you to their own will instead of you bending them to their will, to your will. You have to understand, they use fear as a mechanism. So even though they use the fires as a mechanism to develop properties and make billions of dollars, they also use the same propaganda on TV showing the fires to put fear in your heart, because once you're afraid of things, your mind, your body goes into fight or flight, and then they can control you and dominate you and twist and turn you in any kind of way, shape, or form. They can literally tell you any story they want to or not tell you anything, and you'll continue to go along with the game. That's how the big boys play the big game. They play chess, not checkers. They know how to dominate from pre-thinking everything into existence. But guess what? We have the same power. We relinquish our power every day to outside sources. Oh, I don't want to. Let me give the government all my power. Let the government handle it. If the government says it's good, then we got to do it. If the government says do this, then we got to do that. If the government says to take the thing in my arm, I got to do that. If the government tells me I got to, everything the government says, we're going to do it. Then you got the other people. They're looking for some outside deity. Help me, help me. Oh, come down and save me and take care of this and pay my bills. We got the people that want to turn deities into slaves. I can't pay my rent. I got to pay this thing and I got a problem I got to fix. Help me fix this problem. We want to turn gods into slaves. We don't want to do nothing for ourselves. We want to give all of our power to the government and then beg invisible people to be slaves to us. Does that make any sense to you? Does that really make any sense to you? You want to beg the sky daddy to be your slave at the same time that you gave all your power away to governments and corporations. And then look around and wonder, how did the world get so messed up? I don't understand how we got in this situation. You got in this situation because you gave away your power. You gave away your strength. You gave away your own omnipotence and omniscience. And then you tried to enslave invisible sky gods to do the rest of the work for you. The stuff that you yourself should be taking care of. You've completely relinquished your power to outside sources. If you take a human being and you don't feed them any food or give them any water, the body's going to die. That's a metaphor. If you take a human being, if you yourself don't realize the power within you and utilize that power and access it, spiritually, you're going to die. And before you know it, your spirit is gone and you're just an avatar running around here working on programming code with no real information, no knowledge, no way to access your power, no way to know who you really are. You're just running around like a doggone program out here, fulfilling the needs of others instead of taking care of yourself and your family. That's what's going on. Like Gang Stalking said in the chat, bots. There's a lot of bots out here running around the streets, acting like they got someplace to go and something to do. Instead of giving away all their power, all their spiritual energy is gone. Begging the fake sky daddies, hey, sky daddy, come and do this for me. I need another slave. I need to enslave you to fix my problems because I'm too damn lazy to do it my damn self. So I need you to come down here and put a magic spell on this for me. Now, I'm not saying that God doesn't exist because I believe that there's God. And anybody who studies my work knows that. But the one y'all are trying to enslave doesn't even exist. I don't think most people don't even know really what God actually is. God is a frequency, and it's your job to tune in to get on the same frequency. It's not a man. It's not a woman. And a he, him, won't he do it, and all that kind of stuff. And the government, damn sure, ain't here to help you. You see, the government is supposed to work for the people. They're actually supposed to be servants to the people. That was the original position of the government. What's happened is they have played a mind trick on you, and they got you thinking that you work for them and you need to listen to what they say, when it's actually the other way around. We're supposed to tell them what we want and what we want them to do and how we want them to do it and when they better do it, or we're going to cancel them. You see the trickery they pulled on us? We're listening to everything they say, everything they tell us to do. Oh, we got to get the Jabberwowski? I better run out and I better stick myself and I better get all my family members involved as well. Right away, Mr. Government, I'll take care of it immediately for you. People dropping dead like flies, myocarditis, aneurysms, strokes. Oh, no, that's just a coincidence. It wasn't from that. It was just a coincidence. I think that other guy had that heart attack because he had a congenital. It was when he was born. That's what this kid keeps dropping dead because he was born with that. They got you coming and going. And they got you lying for them. That's how much power you gave away to them. They got you lying for them. Oh, I'm so good. I'm so happy I got that thing because now when I did get the sickness, it wasn't that bad. You weren't supposed to get it in the first place. And if the thing worked, why in the world is everybody talking about you need it? If it works, I should be able to walk right next to you with no problem. But the brainwashing is so strong. All the power has been given away. Now they're lighting complete cities on fire. Don't forget about Hawaii. Yeah, look up Hawaii and land developers. Just Google Hawaii land developers. They're already the sharks. They're already moving into Hawaii. They've already got their plans. Their plans were set 8 to 10 years ago for today. They didn't just say, oh, guys, there's an opportunity going on in Hawaii with all these fires. We can go make some money now. No. The plan for Hawaii started 8 to 10 years ago. You see, these people don't plan for tomorrow. They don't plan for next week. They don't plan for next year. They plan for decades in advance. Mitsubishi, which is a electronics and automaker, they have a 300-year business plan. And that's just one of many corporations that have plans that go into the hundreds of years. While you're trying to figure out what you're going to do next week with your paycheck, they've got plans for hundreds of years. If you think these people are thinking about what's going on next week and what just happened last week in the news, this stuff was planned from over a decade ago. The deals were signed, sealed, and delivered over a decade ago. All you're seeing now is the manifestation of a decade's worth of planning and waiting and patience. That's what you see in the result. You're seeing the manifestation of that, something that started back in time. They set their goals in motion. They set their thoughts in motion. They set their actions in motion. And then they meet up with those thoughts and those goals and those actions at a point, time and space. And when they meet, when they start them out, then they meet them again at the end. That's when their manifestation occurs. You can learn a lot from these people. Not on the darkness that they do, but the techniques they use to execute manifestation. They manifest at a very, very high level. They get almost everything they want and exactly how they want it. They will rip your clothes right off of your back in front of your face and tell you forgot to put a shirt on. And you'll go, I think I forgot to put my shirt on this morning. And they walk away wearing your shirt. Wake up, man. Some of us are in a coma. An absolute coma. We're not sleeping. We're beyond sleep. We're in a coma. Come on. We got to do better. All right? We got to do better. A lot's going on. We have the GODPOWER 2 workshop coming up. And I want to drop a link to that because it's going to be an amazing workshop. We did part 1 already. That was 11 hours. Part 2 is going to be 12 hours. 12 hours of teaching. And the reason why I say 12 is because we know that we always go overtime. Even though it says 10, we always go overtime. I've got some special classes that I'll be doing this time that have never been taught before. You've never seen them before. You can't Google them. You can't get this information on Google and YouTube. You can't get it on ChatGPT. It's the Blueprint for GODPOWER Part 2 taught by myself, Billy Carson, and Dr. B. Sirius. And that's coming up at the end of October. You don't want to miss that event. I just dropped it in the live chat. If you don't know, if you can't see the link, make sure you go to eventbrite.com or click the link in the caption of this video, and you'll be able to go register for that event. It was the most part one was one of the most monumentous workshops in the history of online esoteric teachings. And this one is going to be just as mind-boggling. I want to read a little bit about what we're going to be teaching. So if you hang on with me for a second while I take this little break, I want to talk to you about what we're going to be teaching. So let me just read. Let me pull it up on my computer above me and read a little bit here as to what we're going to be teaching in this class. It's going to be one of the most amazing classes that you've ever had a chance to be a part of. And it's virtual, and you can play it back 1,000,000 times over because it's unlimited replays. So Dr. B Sirius is going to be teaching how to develop a whole brain state, neuro-linguistic programming, how to create mind alters idioms, how to use your eyes as spiritual technology, basic personal kinesiology, the science of the reticular activating system, how to shapeshift matter, and much more. And I'll be taking you into supermind learning and how to learn how to speed read, which is something that people have been asking me for a long, long time. I'm finally going to teach people my technique on how I speed read, how I can literally read 4 lines of text at a time. Also, how to read 2 books at the same time and download gigs of information. And when I say read 2 books at the same time, I'm talking about listening to an audiobook and then reading a physical book simultaneously and taking in 2 different books at the same time into one brain and still retaining about 70 to 85% of the information. Also, there's a technique I utilize that technique for other things as well, to take and download gigabytes of data. People say, how do you remember all this stuff? I'm going to teach you how I do it. If you come to this workshop, you'll know exactly how I do it. You'll learn my exact techniques. Nobody can teach you this because it's me. How to rewrite your epigenetic code and reprogram your junk DNA. How to read energy fields and much more. It's going to be a mind-blowing workshop, something you definitely don't want to miss. It's going to be one of these workshops where, people are going to be talking about this for a very long time to come, just like they're still talking about the Blueprint for God Power Part 1. People are going to be talking about God Power Part 2, like, what in the world is going on? How do these guys come up with this? And when you come to the class and you learn it, you're like, damn, the testimonial, I think we have over 300 testimonials from Part 1. Part 2 is going to be even bigger. All right. So again, click that link and you'll be able to register for the God Power Part 2 coming up in October. All right. It's going to be an amazing, amazing workshop. And I got one more quick announcement as well. Let me see if I can find a link to that real quick. We have, of course, our tour of Egypt sold out already from a long time ago. We had a couple spots open up just because a couple of people couldn't make it at the last minute. They had some passport issues and some other stuff. They couldn't come. So, but there was a waiting list, and those tickets are already gone too. Every year we take 70 people to Egypt. And this year we're actually taking, I think, 75. It's the most we can take because the boat only has enough rooms for the 75 people, because we're also doing a Nile cruise. And we got the whole ship. The whole ship is only forbidden knowledge. That's it. Nobody else is allowed on there. All right. And so people have been asking, well, when are you going to open up tickets for the next year? So we are announcing today, right now, that the Forbidden Tour of Egypt is now open for 2024. And I'm going to drop the link for you. All I can tell you is, guys, as many people that contact us and beg us to keep, let them get a ticket. It's not that we don't want to sell you a ticket. I'd love to sell you a ticket. We just can't sell tickets more than the seats we have on 2 tour buses and 1 giant ship. Plus, we got an airplane that we fill up to fly around Egypt, and that's all included in the fee. So we can't add people. But where are you going to sit? In the wheel well of the airplane? So again, now that I'm announcing the 2024 Forbidden Tour of Egypt, what do you need to do? You need to hurry up and get these tickets fast, because of course, 2024 is also going to be gone pretty fast. I just dropped a link in the chat. All right. It's the Forbidden Tour of Egypt 2024. And it's amazing. I am your guide. I take you around. I take you in places that nobody will ever take you. You want to go underneath the pyramid? You want to go into the king's chamber and do a special meditation? You want to go and see what's underneath the Sphinx. You want to go touch the Sphinx and go between the Sphinx's paws. It's all VIP stuff. Nobody can just walk up and do this. That's all guarded by the military. When we go, we have special access to sites where they clear everyone out. Any tourists in the area, they have to leave. The military clears them out, and it's then forbidden time. It's all forbidden knowledge, people only, exclusive. I'll take you to places where you'll to see things that nobody else has ever seen. We'll take you to hidden crypts in the Temple of Dendera. Show you evidence of ancient technologies that are forbidden to be photographed or videotaped. So you have to be there to see it, right? Like we did the other 70 people from last year. It's mind-blowing stuff. Take you to the Temple of Abydos where you can witness technology etched into hieroglyphs, airplanes, tanks, helicopters, all etched into hieroglyphs in ancient times at the Temple of Seti. Take you down to the Temple of Osiris where you can see an atomically etched image of the flower of life into a stone pillar. I mean, stuff that's just mind-boggling. You can't do this on your own. You can't even get to some of these areas on your own. And we use military protection as well as armed guards on our tour buses. So we have the highest level of protection. And yes, it's needed, but it's a life-changing event. It's a life-changing tour. If you want to come with me and hike inside of miles and miles of pyramids, right? You want to go through the Red Pyramid, the Bent Pyramid, the Great Pyramid. There's miles of shafts. I will guide you through those tiny shafts if you're not claustrophobic, and take you to see things that you never thought were even possible to see. It's one of the most amazing trips you'll ever take in your lifetime, and I will be your personal guide on those tours and those trips. Again, I'll drop the link in the chat one more time for the Forbidden Tour of Egypt. It's a 10-day tour for 2024. Today's the first day it opened, and my highest recommendation, get your ticket immediately because you already know it's going to be sold out very, very fast. All right. So I did my due diligence. I dropped the link there for you guys. I promised you I was going to announce it when 2024 opened up. So you better hurry up and you better get your tickets ASAP because they will be gone. Now I'm going to be coming back on at 9 o'clock. I got to go off and come back on again. I'll be doing a free webinar tonight. Okay. Free webinar tonight. It'll be about learning how to generate passive income and learning how to invest in real estate via tokens, tokenized real estate on the blockchain. I'm going to be on here in about 4 or 5 more minutes. I'll be back on here with Gaben Sarial talking about that. It'll be a free webinar. Here's a link to the webinar right here to register for the webinar. It doesn't cost you any money. So I'll still be on here. Coming right back. I'll have to close off this live and I'll sign right back in. And we're going to do a free webinar tonight. So if you want to learn about tokenized real estate, if you want to learn how to invest in real estate, where you're buying fractions of a property and earning fractions of that rental income on that property, you don't want to miss this. It's going to be amazing tonight. All right. It's going to be amazing. All right. So again, it's going to be right now. That's the registration link I just dropped in the chat. And I'm going to sign off and I'll be right back on in a couple of minutes because I'm going to teach you guys how to invest into real estate on the blockchain. It's a new way of doing it. Imagine being able to look at real estate and say, hey, I like this property. Check it out online virtually. Look at the rent roll and find out how much the rent is. And then calculate what is your percentage of income if you only bought 100 tokens, 200 tokens, 1,000 tokens worth of the property. So you're getting paid income on your percentage, your fractal percentages you own through tokens, which you can't be robbed, it can't be stolen. It's your money on your own wallet that is transferred to you automatically because it's all based on the contract, the virtual contract, and money's transferred to you right into your wallet every single month. Tokenized real estate, something you want to learn about here. I'll be back on in a couple of minutes with this. It's a whole new way. There's so many ways to skin a cat. There's so many ways to make money in this world, and this is another one. And so I'll be back on in a couple of minutes with Gaben Sarial from the ARC to teach you about tokenized real estate. All right. Anyway, I'll be back. Somebody says wrong link for 2020. No, it's the 10. This is right. It says register for the 2024. There's a button right there in the red, right at the top of the page. It says register for 2024 Tour of Egypt. When you click that link, you can fill out that form. and we'll get that email from you, and we'll contact you, and then get you the information you need to get registered fully for the tour itself. All right. Anyway, guys, I'll be back. Thank you for spending some time with me tonight, and I'll be back on here in a couple of minutes. Peace.